if you joined me late, Jay Blankenship is here with me, and he is here from the South Carolina Department of Commerce, the Regional Workforce Advisor for
Yes,
here
ma'am.
in Greenville.
Yes,
And we're
ma'am.
talking about opportunities and jobs, and especially young people, what you need
That's right.
to bring to the table. It's
That's
one
right.
thing to say, well, I want a job, but you have to know what jobs are there and what your interests are and what you bring to the job,
That's right. That's
right?
right. That's correct.
And that's where you come in.
Yes, ma'am. Because one of the things that when you work with young people, they need to one understand there's a work ethic and a requirement and expectation, and that's something that can be taught. Traditionally, we were growing up. Those are some things that we were raised with, but you're dealing with a different generation now.
I guess things change so rapidly. Yeah, because as you say, in times past, that was a given.
That was a given. Now with the social mobility and the internet and just apps on phones and these type things, there's not a lot of personal interaction that required face-to-face interaction and how to really sell who you are. So one of the things that we engage in is having workshops and those type things to help students understand and young people understand, one, how to communicate, how to properly shake someone's hand, how to look them in the eye, how to sell who you are, help them understand how to interview, whether that's on a phone interview or a team interview or a face-to-face interview or just applying for an application online. Those are things that we would take for granted in our population. For them, it's a challenge. And so we try to provide avenues that address some of the challenges that they may face. So during the summer months, a lot of occasions we'll take students on college tours so they can see the different colleges and universities throughout the state of South Carolina. But we educate them on those different types of colleges and universities so that they understand the difference between a research university versus a liberal arts university or a faith-based institution or one that requires an essay, one that doesn't, or one that's need-based versus need-blind, these type things. So we're helping them and their parents make informed decisions because those decisions that they make now, those are lifelong lasting decisions that they're making.
And that's what you will be doing this summer?
Yes, ma'am. And we have SAT, an ACT workshop, where we bring in a facilitator to teach them strategy. Because in my former life, when I worked at Clemson in undergraduate admissions, it was important that students not only understood what they were doing academically in their school, but how to have success on taking those standardized tests. Because in a lot of cases, those scores on those standardized tests do play a role in that decision. So we bring in an expert that we can see.
Wait a minute. Play a role in their decision as to where they go to school or what kind of job they want to see?
Where they going to school.
Where they're going to university.
Because all colleges and universities have an academic requirement with test scores.
Yeah.
So we bring in a facilitator that's an expert in helping those students navigate how to take those tests. And we've been quite successful in being able to do that. We've been recognized nationally and regionally in the state for
That's wonderful,
a lot of those
Jay.
activities that we do.
Yeah, I know you've just recently gotten an award.
Yes, ma'am.
And I guess I would like to highlight that a little bit. You received the Regional Workforce Advisor. You are that.
That's correct.
And the award was what?
It was the American Health Education
That's
Consortium Gateway Award.
The Gateway Award.
Yes,
Those are the words I was trying to find. Yeah, and what actually is the Gateway
Well,
Award?
the Gateway Award is given by the South Carolina American Health Education Consortium, which we call AHEC. And it was given to me because of my involvement and engagement in helping young people understand and gain access to careers in healthcare. And so I was very fortunate to receive that award on the state level down in Myrtle Beach this past
That's
February.
wonderful.
And it's important because when you look at young people and you're playing a role in their lives, you want to make sure that you're giving them accurate and important information, and also those tips that they need to be successful. So that meant a lot to be able to receive that award from that organization. I was fortunate last year to receive an award from the National Office for Job for America's Graduates. I was very fortunate to receive that for my involvement in helping those young people understand how to navigate careers and education, but also, most importantly, how to live life. Character development, leadership, and those type of things, which are very important. Those are very important attributes to have.
You really are on a mission.
Well, I'm doing what I've been called to do,
That's beautiful.
and I want to make sure that the legacy I leave for South Carolina is that I was able to provide opportunity and access for the citizens of our state.
And do you actually go into the classrooms?
I do.
Do you have to be invited by the school, or how does that work?
Well, I traditionally partner with the schools to provide speakers and those type of things that they need for different activities.
Yeah.
But a lot of times I will also create an additional initiative where I see a need, and I'll work with the administration at the school and those people that are in charge of the academics or the career portion to make those things a reality. We'll sponsor for students to be able to go off campus from their schools to go visit industry or as institutional higher education so that they get a real life, real time view of what's taking place.
So that's a real learning experience.
It is. It is.
It's one thing to sit in the high school classroom and say, well, I'd like to do this job.
That's
but
correct.
when you take them out into the actual facility, then they see what's involved.
Yes, ma'am. It's like when we were able to take a group of students. We had an event with Boeing, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And so, we had a large group of stakeholders, including students, adults, legislative leaders, and all of that. So the students got an opportunity to network with people outside of their peer group. They got a true understanding of how industry works. They were able to see the Center for Manufacturing Innovation, where they had an opportunity to see how these products and things are made and some of the processes and skills that they're going to need, especially if they go into those arenas. So we try to give them real-time, real-life perspectives. In most cases, something that's applied, where they can touch it, feel it, see it, those type things.
So you're trying. Your ultimate goal is to help these kids be workforce ready.
That's correct. That's correct. Not only the students, because in my capacity, I deal with a multiple level of stakeholders. So that could be veterans, that could be members of the faith-based community organizations. About 3 years ago, give you an example. 3 years ago, we worked with the faith-based community to get legislation passed in South Carolina, which was Act 4840, which allowed for South Carolina to have an additional testing provider for those individuals who were interested in what we call GED, but we changed the terminology, so we call it the South Carolina High School Diploma Equivalency Act.
Okay.
So we worked with a non-traditional partner, which was faith-based, to put legislation in place that helped our citizens. So I work with veterans, I work with members of the faith-based community, I work with our chambers of commerce, I work with our service providers, whether they're training providers or true service providers. We also work with at-risk populations, whether it's something like DJJ or Job Corps, or we work with individuals that may have a challenge to employment because of criminal history. So we work with individuals who are trying to reestablish themselves.
So
in the
you actually
community.
have an outreach to somebody who's been in prison
Yes, ma'am.
and now wants to start a new life.
Yes, ma'am. We work with our agency partners to handle those things. So I'm more of a connector, a convener.
I'm dizzy just hearing all the things that you're doing. That's fabulous.
It's a lot that goes on because there's a lot of needs. We even work with our veteran population as it relates to individuals who have an interest in going in the military. We were able to work with SC Works about 5 years ago to create an opportunity for our citizens in the upstate to test for the ASVAB, which is the examination that you have to take to go in the military. Well, based on that partnership, we now test the most individuals in the state of South Carolina who have an interest in going in the military.
So you help them get ready.
Yes, ma'am. We help build the relationship for them to get ready. Yes.
That would be what age group?
That's anyone that's in age of population.
I mean, if somebody's just coming out of high school and they say, I think I would like to try the military
Yes.
for a life.
Yes.
How
What
does
we
that
do
work?
is we align them to go to our testing site, which is in McAllister Square, to take the ASVAB.
Okay.
And then it goes from there. Because what happens is my role as the Regional Workforce Advisor, I connect entities. So a lot of times it may be that they are in the same category or they may be totally different. For example, I can build relationships with any entity pretty much to make sure that whatever their need is, we can help them find ways to facilitate it. So, in doing that, it allows us, one, to make sure that we address the challenge. One of the challenges we have right now is transportation. Well, as Regional Workforce Advisor, one of my roles is to help build those linkages so we can get a discussion and conversation about how do we address public transportation in Greenville? How do we address affordable housing? So as an RWA, my role is not just K-12, it's addressing the needs
Beyond.
that address in our community.
So you have an enormous outreach,
I do.
and you're aware of some of the needs.
Yes, ma'am.
And before we're out of time, what do you see as some of the needs that Greenville and this area has?
Well, I think we need to make sure that our citizens in Greenville County have the connectivity to industry, understand what those needs are in terms of the requirements, the educational requirements. I think it's important that we focus on high school completion. We have a bill right now in South Carolina called Act 207, which allows individuals who have not formally completed their high school education because they didn't pass the high school exit exam to go back now and petition the school board to get their high school diploma. And the only requirements are if you attended a school in South Carolina that was public, but you passed all the Carnegie units that were required for graduation, but you failed the high school exit exam, you can now go back and petition your school board to get your high school diploma. So imagine how many people in your viewing audience may not have a high school diploma because they didn't pass the exit exam that can now petition their school district to get a diploma. That helps them now to legally be able to get a job, wages, benefits, things that they thought were impossible, but they may not even be aware of the law.
Oh, that's terrific. So you are one busy person. I mean, I'm dizzy just looking here with you at what your outreach is. And we have a phone number, which is 467-3620. And, of course, that's 864. If anybody wants to get in touch. Now, you go out and talk to schools and
Yes,
business. So if somebody wants to reach you, and I'll keep that number here if you didn't get it, but you're available to help on all levels.
Yes, ma'am. I go out and I speak to businesses, schools, civic groups, community groups.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good
Thank
luck.
you.
Come
Thank
back.
you.
Good
Yes,
luck
ma'am.
to you with all
Yes,
the
ma'am.
good things that you're accomplishing. And wherever you are, stay happy, and we'll see you next time.